Please excuse my notes. I have so much to tell you guys, but we only have 6 minutes, so I have to make sure I get the points across. There is no way at the beginning of 2014 that I imagined I would be here. Out of all the startups, we made it. About 103 startups entered the ZOL Challenge this year and made it to the top 10. I'll tell you something very interesting about this fact. Yes, it's great we made it to the top 10, but we're more excited about the 103 startups that actually entered. I'll tell you a story to explain. A few years ago, I graduated from university, and I was ready to roll up my sleeves and start working to rebuild something. I don't know if it was the engineer or the entrepreneur in me, but I really enjoyed solving problems in wonderful ways, many ways. Now, obviously by the time I graduated, I'd come up with quite a few ideas. So I decided, let me action it. So I started researching, interviewing clients. I approached businesses. I spoke to ministries and city councils. And, well, let's just say I came up with a fantastic conceptual idea and a lot of validation from the potential partners. Now, the time came when I had to secure a supply contract. I was a no deal. I didn't have any collateral. I didn't have any know-how. I didn't have any experience. And I decided, hey, maybe I could do it a different way. But again, I didn't have the skills and know-how to build things like software. So what do I do now? So I turned to my family and friends for some feedback. And although the message was very positive, they couldn't quite figure out how it would work. And neither did I. So my idea sat in my room and gathered dust. And unfortunately, because life got in the way, I still had to pay bills. I still had to look at utilities. So that was just an idea that went down the drain. Unfortunately, my story is not an uncommon one. Out of the 103 startups that applied to the ZOL Challenge, 100 will walk away and struggle to find what the next step is. The startup weekend earlier on in May, 150 ideas were pitched. 147 walked away without realizing the full potential of their ideas. There is an ocean of talent and innovative solutions in Zimbabwe. And as a country, we need them. So how? How can we possibly give these ideas a fighting chance? I'm proud to introduce you to the QOR app. It is a tailor-made platform that enables users to combine personalized tools, content feeds, and information onto a single application. These are tools designed by Zimbabweans for Zimbabwean users. So what does that mean for startups? Well, the cost of web hosting and servers is astronomical right now. So QOR is offering web hosting on the most relevant server technologies available today at no upfront cost to the startup. Resource pooling. Where startups are lacking in skills and know-how, other developers and core services can come to their rescue. Validation of products. The QOR platform allows developers to test and improve their ideas at minimized cost with measurable results. And probably the most important route to market. By bringing users onto a centralized platform, startups can market their product directly to Zimbabweans and avoid disappearing into this on marketplaces like Google Play. So why would users download QOR in the first place? It's simple to use. The animations are smooth as silk. It's just such a pleasant experience. An obstacle that we discovered while doing research for the app is that many users can't actually afford to be online all the time. Data is very expensive. So we've designed QOR to be an app that people use every day, multiple times in a day. So part of the QOR function is that it uses very little data. It can be used offline. No airtime, no problem. Use the QOR tools offline, and it will update itself when you have access to them. Now, the most pinnacle part of QOR is content. The ideas we are showcasing on QOR assist with improving the Zimbabwean day-to-day experience. We're making the content relevant to your lifestyle. It's not just any, it's things that you need, the things that you want. So what's our winning strategy? We will approach startups at hubs, competitions, universities and colleges for the platform. Before implementing the strategy, we've already begun working with 10 startups who will be featured on the first year. And our projections at current activities show an atypical hockey stick curve in profits by month 7. We do, however, anticipate further growth beyond current business. Overall, we believe QOR is the tool that will reshape the Zimbabwean tech infrastructure to support the growth of ideas and help Zimbabweans access and create game solutions. Thank you. This is the core team. The whole team.
The whole core team.
Sorry, I didn't really get exactly what you do.
Basically, the challenge right now for app developers and startups is finding a way to get their product out there, from concept to function and commercializing. QOR is sort of a route to market, a channel for them to achieve this. We'll help them where they need skills or know-how on how to bring their concept into reality, as well as provide like a marketing or route to market channel for them to market directly to their customers.
How do you make any money on this?
We have a layered revenue structure. Firstly, we make a bit of money from the subscriptions that the users pay to the app developers. Then we do have advertising platforms as well. We also will be developing promotional applications for, say, events or competitions that will be featured on the core application.
So, I mean, you mentioned you help these startups do development of apps.
Yes, if they...
Do they pay you for that, or they just take it from the subscription amounts?
We cover that cost from the subscription.
Because, I mean, if
we provide training to the teams, so they find somebody who's interested in developing for our platform and train them up on it. But it's up to them to find the resources and the talent to develop for the platform.
So you're basically doing a platform.
Yes.
And then you want other businesses to take on your platform and start using it for their own apps and...
Yes.
Who are you competing against?
It depends, because we're an amalgamation of different services. So in terms of, we're kind of an app marketplace, so we're kind of competing with Google apps, but Google doesn't give you the support network and so on behind to develop the app. Also, not all businesses are appropriate for an app within themselves. So, for example, an app for, let's say, Happy Maids, which you'll hear about later, you need an app to find the maid in the first place, but then the app languishes in your phone. Whereas if it's part of a larger system, you're using our app for a number of different things, maybe logistics, or to catch a combi into work, or manage your finances. And when it's appropriate, so at the end of the month when the maid needs to be paid, then the Happy Maid service will bubble up to the top of the list and remind you that you have to pay a bill. But it's not a case of they have to develop their whole app and launch it and the business model and everything else. It also means that Happy Maids can launch within us as a platform. So Happy Maids is within Zimbabwe, it's targeting Zimbabweans. We are a very siloed society. So for example, lawyers tend to hang out with lawyers, they don't really have much to do with each other. Same with farmers. By working with these startups that are focused on those particular silos, we create one bigger marketplace for Zimbabwean app developers, so that they're not having to go and break through to lawyers and farmers. You know, the startup that's already broken through to that silo enables that whole marketplace for somebody who's coming on with a new idea to validate their
In terms of subscriptions, how much will you be charging, and also give us insight into the numbers to update?
So the subscription model is it's set by the developer, and it depends on their given market. So for example, our biggest revenue is going to be from a trucking company called Applegate Logistics, and they are charging a set price per vehicle and then a percentage of the cost of the shipment. Another model is St. John's College. We're going to be rolling out a student and parent portal next week. That's a set cost per month at a much lower rate because we want to get the app used by the parents so that they'll start seeing the different advantages and subscribing to the different things. Uptake is still quite small. We realized during the course of this mentorship that although we thought that launching on Android and iOS would be enough, the figures just are too small. So we're rewriting the platform currently to make sure it works with Opera Mini so that we can hit the market with a much bigger potential market.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to get a little bit more sense. People download your app first,
Yes.
and then they download almost in-app purchases for each, almost module if you like. So St. John's is going to say to their parents, go download Core. Once you download Core, then you download our app inside.
Well, with St. John's, we'll set up a store at the beginning of term and actually install it on the parents' phones, anybody that comes in. There's also a website.
Install what? Install Core.
Yes.
Yes.
And then install the St. John's app in Core.
Yes.
So, your customer's a consumer of some sort? Not a company, not an app developer, but me. And this is a dashboard of apps that I might want to subscribe to?
It's a dashboard of services. So the end user, as a consumer, our customers are the startups that have a good idea that we think could be worth validating. In terms of, so you load up, and there's a number of different, they kind of look like live tiles on Windows 8, but they're rearranged according to how often you use them, and also if there's any particular data coming out. So, for example, we designed one for emerging markets, emerging ideas, who do a pitch night. So they do a pitch night once a month. So on the Wednesday before the pitch night, emerging ideas will get the top of your list. If you use it regularly. If you don't, it'll drop off the bottom of your list.
So the services you offer to the St. John's type of people would be that you will offer some development resources to develop the app on your platform, and you will take payments for them, process payments for them. They don't have to think about any of that stuff.
St. John's is a bit of a...
Okay, not St. John's, but a typical...
Yeah. In theory, there would be a developer who wants to write an app for St. John's.
Okay.
We work with them, train them up on how to do it, work with them on the business model, work out how much they need to charge. Do they charge St. John's? Do they charge the parents? Do they charge per student? And so on. We then launch it. We see the number of parents that are actually using the app, trackable, and so on. So the parents start using the app for St. John's. Then we can also do things like Anchor Fund as a budgeting system that they can then target to those St. John's parents.
And are they then tied into Core? Can they ever go and do a standalone app? You have what are your terms and conditions like, and would they have to go start from scratch if they want to do their own standalone app?
It's a non-exclusive contract. They can prove it with us and launch a separate app. All we ask is any services that they prove with us they carry on offering, so that we don't lose any functionality at all.
Okay, so they can't pull it out of Core. They can do new features outside of Core,
Correct.
but they have to keep doing Core the existing inside Core. And the development environment, what is that?
It's JavaScript, front end, back end, so it's a shorter learning curve than learning a separate back end.
So if I develop it just with you, then it's going to work on iOS, Android, and Opera.
If you develop it with us, then you could take that and wrap that using PhoneGap or Cordova and release it immediately as an app on Android only, Apple Play and BlackBerry and so on.
How's the maintenance and support on the app?
So that's one of the responsibilities of the core team, is that we will handle all the hosting costs. You only pay if your service is successful. So it's to remove that need for capital for a startup to prove their idea. We use a database, CouchDB, as a backend, so it does master-to-master synchronization really well, and it means that we can cluster and scale up very quickly from a technical perspective. It also means that, like at St. John's will have their own server with core installed on it, and the data is all within their network. Then that synchronizes as a backup to the core server that we hosted. Each individual developer has the option of doing that or keeping it off-site if they want to.
So technically, how do you secure this thing?
You mean financially?
No, I mean the security of the app itself.
In terms of intellectual property, or in terms of being hacked by somebody?
Being hacked, or yeah.
CouchDB uses SSL, HTML, so we're using the same sort of security protocols as the banks, and all the security is happening through there. In terms of inter-app security, we use a two-word combined hash. So each developer has a secret key, each user has a secret key, and then the data is hashed through the combination of those two keys, so that even you have no way of getting of decrypting another developer's user's data.
And what's your strategy to take customers from other competing platforms, like Google Store, Apple iStore?
I think as we get the numbers, it becomes a bit of a numbers game. We're focusing on Zimbabwe because we are Zimbabweans and we're passionate about turning this country around. So the sort of startups we're working with don't have a competitor on App Store or iTunes yet. We do believe that with the offline data, the usage, the other advantages, the low data usage, other things that we built in, it's going to be much easier to validate new ideas on our platform than anywhere else. So Core will be the app you go to if you want cutting-edge breakthroughs. Also for enterprise customers, it's appealing to, there's a lot of talk about bringing your own device to work and so on. If an enterprise can have a Core server running with their own services on it that their users can subscribe to, it makes it much easier for them to control access to data and so on. So I think that's an advantage that we have over Google App and iTunes and so on.
So do you guys work full-time in the business?
Most of us do. Two of us are chartered accountant and Fudzi, who's Applegate, in logistics. The rest of us are full-time working on this.
What does success look like for Core?
I think success for us will be measured by the number of end users that we get to sign up, and also the number of different services that they're offering. If we're looking at 1.2 million users using a smartphone in the country. Within a year, we want to have 20% of those on board.
And what then happens when you fully satisfy the Zimbabwean market? Any plans to expand internationally?
We do plan to expand into areas like Botswana and areas that have because the fundamental reason behind Core is to solve problems for users. That's what we put users in. It's not just fun apps. And so we want to target areas where there's an immediate need for a solution that could address a big problem. So areas like Botswana, Zambia, Mozambique would be perfect areas to expand to after Zimbabwe.
Does this work with apps that weren't co-developed with you, if I understand your tips right? So I already have an app. Can I kind of route it through here so that it appears and it'll give me the updates that I want from that app through your system?
Yeah, the way you could do that is if you install your own Core app, you can then use any API so that when data...
I have no idea what you're doing.
Yes.